Hello, this is Melissa Cole, curator of the Oshawa Community Museum. I would like to thank you for joining me today for our monthly podcast series. This month's podcast features a pair of clogs that originated from northwest England, called Lancashire Clogs. They are also called Northumberland Clogs or Yorkshire Clogs. Unlike the more famous Dutch clogs, Lancashire clogs have a leather upper and some lace up like ordinary shoes, while others contain an engraved metal clasp such as the ones featured here. Clogs were not only cheaper than leather shoes, they were safer against penetration and less likely to be adversely affected by snow, moisture, and mud. They were long-lasting and comfortable. These wooden-soled shoes with strips of steel attached underneath like a horseshoe were the everyday footwear of working people in England. At first glance they may look fairly simple, but in fact their simplicity is what made them popular in Britain from the 1840s until the 1920s. Although traditionally associated with Lancashire, they were worn all over the country. The wearing of clogs in Britain became more visible with the Industrial Revolution, when industrial workers needed strong, cheap footwear. Men and women wore laced and clasped clogs respectively, the fastening clasp being of engraved brass or more commonly steel. The soles are carved from a hardwood such as alder and shod with irons to stop the wood from wearing away. Nailed under the sole at the toe and heel were clog irons. They were generally 3/8 of an inch wide and 1/4 inch thick, with a groove down the middle to protect the nail heads from wear. The uppers are tacked onto the soles, are made from leather. Each component of the shoe is made to be easily repaired. Symbolic of the working class, this style of shoe was worn by the thousands of people who worked in the cotton mills throughout northern England. This particular pair of clogs was worn by a Mrs. T.H. Campbell before she emigrated from England to Canada in 1910. Wherever it was damp or wet underfoot, clogs were the preferred footwear due to their cheapness to buy and to repair, and their long-lasting wear and their comfort. In England, the wearing of clogs gave rise to a popular activity of clog dancing, a form of dance that eventually developed into tap dancing. It has been suggested that clog dancing originated with workers synchronizing foot tapping with the rhythmic sounds made by the loom shuttles. The predominant style of Lancashire clog dancing was termed heel and toe. Many of the steps emulate the sound of the shuttle and other parts of the cotton spinning and weaving machinery. Clog dancing was a cheap form of popular entertainment. Not only was clog dancing common, it took place on street corners. There were professional clog dancers and competitions, and proficient clog dancers could improve their situation by dancing professionally in music halls. One notable Lancashire clog dancer who ultimately succeeded was Charlie Chaplin, who performed in a troupe called the 8 Lancashire Lads. Dancing clogs were termed neat clogs. They did not have irons on the soles and were lighter than the heavier working clogs. The uppers were usually tooled or decorated and often colored. One final note on Lancashire clogs. Men who wished to settle differences frequently did so by squaring off against each other, by clog fighting. In Lancashire it was curiously known as purring, with a contemporary account from Chris Brady, who states the following: "It is all up and down fighting here. They fought quite naked, except for their clogs. When one has the other down on the ground, he first endeavors to choke him by squeezing his throat. Then he kicks him with his clogs, and sometimes they are very severely injured." Thank you for joining me for this month's podcast. I hope you will join me again next month when we will feature another artifact from the collection of the Oshawa Community Museum, our Shirley Temple doll. Thank you.